scaled this brand from 0 to 369K in revenue in under 90 days using just Google Ads. And today I'm going to walk you through the exact setup and the exact process that we use to achieve these results for this brand. I'm going to dive into the account, walk you through the exact campaigns we ran, the whole structure, and all of the theory behind it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So first of all, I'm going to walk you through the theory behind how we scaled this brand, the exact points to which we scaled in certain timeframes, and then at the end of this video, I'll walk you through the whole Google Ads account, all of the current campaigns we're running, and exactly what the structure looks like today as we continue scaling. So first of all, we had the initial phase of scaling from 0 to 266K in 60 days. Now, I know this is again very rapid scale, but these are the results you can achieve with the right structure in place and a good product to market. So what do we do in that 60 days to achieve 266K? There are a few caveats here. This was a completely fresh brand. So these guys, when we started with them, had pretty much no sales coming in. They were brand new. They had a little bit of traction on Meta, but they were, for the most part, completely fresh on Google. You can see here when we started with them in April 1, they were literally spending $0 on Google. Now, they had minimal branded traffic coming in. Like I said, even though they were running ads on Meta, they weren't spending much on Meta, so there was very, very little branded traffic to support the revenue in this account. Most of this revenue is non-branded new customer traffic. In fact, I actually broke it down just today, and 87% of the revenue came from non-branded terms, which is a huge proportion for a brand making this kind of revenue. All of this, essentially, almost all of this is new customers from a non-brand perspective, right? So this is massive additional revenue for them. This is essentially, you can see here, 266K in 60 days means they were adding over $100,000 every month in revenue with new customers just by rolling out on Google, right? And how did we get to this stage? Well, it was a pretty simple structure. And look, bear with me for a moment because I know this looks a little bit complex, but I'm going to walk you through everything here and explain exactly how it works. You may have seen a past video of mine where I walk through the structure as an ideal e-commerce structure this year. And it is an ideal e-commerce structure, and we've proven it because this is the exact structure we use to scale this brand. I promise you, every single campaign here has been screenshotted from the account at the point where we reached 266K in 60 days. So how do we do it? All right. So we have the scaling engines. These campaigns are the main campaigns that scaled the brand. They are the shopping campaigns, right? If you're an e-commerce brand, your shopping campaigns and PMax as well should be driving the vast majority of your revenue, especially your new customer or non-brand shopping campaigns, right? If you're a service-based business, this will be search campaigns. I'll get into that in a moment. Now, for these shopping campaigns, you can see they are non-branded campaigns. So that means they are excluding branded terms. So we have a negative keyword list excluding the brand name, and they are running in all of our available regions. So we started in Australia because Australia was the main market for this product. But at this point in the account, we just started expanding to the US, the UK, and Canada as well in a separate campaign. And again, I'll walk you through the live campaigns in the account now. We've expanded a little bit more internationally, so it will be interesting for you to see. But for now, focus on the fact that we separated by our primary region and then our secondary regions. So AU was our primary region at this point, and these were sort of testing regions. So the vast majority of our budget was going into our non-branded Australian shopping campaign, because this is how you scale new customers. When you're not targeting brand traffic, you're just targeting new customers and use shopping campaigns to reach new people effectively. This is how you actually scale. These shopping campaigns just contained the top products for the store. It's pretty much a one product store, so we didn't have to separate out. But if you have a large catalog with a lot of SKUs, what you should do is only promote your top 3 to 5 products in these campaigns because they will give you the best chance of achieving profitable conversions on new customer traffic. All right, so once we had our scaling engine set up, shopping campaigns with our best products excluding branded traffic, that's what it looks like. Then we set up our brand security campaign. So like I said, these guys were running on Meta. Now, only a very small percentage of the revenue in this account came from these branded campaigns, 13% to be exact. So they didn't make up a large portion of the account, but they fed in extremely valuable data and they allowed us to silo all of our branded traffic outside of non-branded campaigns. So we had one branded shopping campaign running worldwide, which is capturing all of our branded shopping traffic. Now, this one is a little bit more complex to set up. You do need a script for it. However, I have an example in one of my past videos of how to set up a branded shopping campaign. I believe it's actually the 2026 e-commerce Google Ads guide. So feel free to check that one out if you want to have a look. And then we had 2 branded search campaigns. These are super easy to run. Once again, separated by primary region and secondary regions. Branded search, all you gotta do is target your brand's name So your brand name in the form of exact match keywords. So exact match keywords are represented by a keyword with square brackets around it. So put in your brand name with square brackets around it, exact match, and that's all you have to do for targeting in this search campaign, nothing else. And then the ad, just make sure it's an ad like any other search ad, shows your brand name, shows your offers at the moment, and obviously says what your product is. Very easy campaign to run. And this allows you to capture branded traffic, people searching for your brand, and make sure that you're capturing it when they are looking for you. Because if you aren't advertising your brand and you run in a big industry with a lot of competitors, what you're going to find is that your competitors will steal your traffic because they'll bid on your brand name. And even if you have good organic listings, these competitors can still show up in the first spot if you aren't running ads for your brand. So make sure if you are running branded campaigns, which I highly recommend, just make sure they are very clearly siloed. You're clearly watching the return. You should be aiming for a very high ROAS on branded traffic because you essentially already own these customers, but you do want the campaigns in place. Next up, we have our additional demand cleanup campaigns. Now, if you're running a service-based business, these will actually be your primary scaling campaigns. What they are, they're non-branded search campaigns. So basically, it's a search campaign with branded terms excluded, just targeting product-related terms. So in this case, the keywords for these campaigns would be keywords related to the product. So let's say you sell kitchen knives. Your keywords would be kitchen knives, chef knives, Damascus chef knife, Japanese chef knife, whatever you sell, right? Adding these as keywords in your search campaign in either a phrase match or exact match format. Phrase match is with phrase quotation marks around the keyword. Exact match is with square brackets around the keyword. Now, these campaigns in an e-commerce account allow you to clean up additional demand. So shopping listings do the majority of heavy lifting in e-commerce accounts. They drive 80% of the sales, but search listings, some people just don't buy from shopping listings. So it's good to have search to clean up the additional demand for people who don't buy from shopping. And again, these only make up a very small percentage of the account. In this case, they made up $70 while shopping made up $260. So it's only a very small portion of overall spend. And it's even gotten smaller now in the account, which you'll see. But it is useful to have them in there just to make sure that you're capturing all the possible demand for your product and not letting anything slip through the cracks. Now, remarketing as well. So PMAX campaigns, very, very important. You can see we're spending a pretty good amount on PMAX campaigns in this account, about $210 a day. Again, separated by primary region and secondary region. Now, in this case, they were targeting a Mother's Day promo. However, now these PMAX campaigns are just targeting our standard product with sort of a gifting focus, which I'll get to when we actually break down the account. But the main purpose of the PMAX campaigns is to do remarketing for us and also some level of prospecting. But there's one very important thing you have to do in these PMAX campaigns, and that is exclude branded traffic. Make sure these PMAX campaigns are pretty much the same as your shopping campaigns, right? So you want to have the top 3 to 5 products in your store advertised in these PMAX campaigns, or the top services if you're a service-based business, but then exclude branded traffic. Make sure you're not targeting any branded traffic again, because if you have branded traffic in your PMAX, it's going to lean too heavily into this branded traffic, it's going to target the wrong people, and you're going to end up spending way too much money on brand and not acquiring any new customers. So again, exclude branded traffic, run your PMAX campaigns with your top products, and you'll get pretty good results. And then when we scaled to the next level for them, so now you can see we're at 369K now in less than 3 months. So we're still over that 133K per month mark now. However, we've introduced some new campaign types from here. Demand gen. Now you can see demand gen still a fairly conservative spend here, only about $275 a day across all the campaigns. But it's a very important part of scale once you start to saturate your PMAX and shopping campaigns. So a few things that you want to keep in mind with demand gen when you get to this level. So once you've built out this structure, this structure is good enough to get you to probably $1,000 a day in profitable spend in most niches. We would have ran this structure up until about $1,000, $1,500 a day even, and remain profitable, getting good return on ad spend with just these campaigns. But once you start to cap out, once you start to realize that you're hitting diminishing returns and you can't push the budget any further without losing return on ad spend, that's when you want demand gen, because demand gen allows you to generate more demand for the rest of your campaigns while also driving profitable top of funnel traffic. So a few things to consider with demand gen. First of all, expect your ROAS to start low and increase over time. Demand gen takes some time to find the right customers and show your ads to the right people. So in case you aren't familiar with demand gen, it's essentially, in majority of cases, YouTube ads, right? So if you're already running video ads on Meta, you can take those video ads from Meta and just dump them into a demand gen campaign, and you'll probably get some performance from them. That may not be profitable from day one, but in this case, Within about 2 to 3 weeks of running this brand's successful meta ads on demand gen, we literally took the meta ads, dropped them into this campaign in the YouTube format, so they run on YouTube, on the YouTube platform. We were getting a profitable ROAS within about 2 to 3 weeks, and the ROAS is actually still climbing on these campaigns. You want to make sure that when you are testing these demand gen campaigns, though, you only test creatives in batches of 3 to 5 at a time. If you go with too many creatives in a single campaign, Google's not going to allocate your budget effectively, and it's going to just give all your spend to one creative, and then you go have 9 untested creatives essentially. Google isn't as good as Meta at finding your best creatives for you, and it often just relies very heavily on a single one without actually testing them properly. So I do recommend testing in conservative batches. Now, when you find winners, promote those winners to their own campaign. Because if you have, say, 3 batches here, each one of them has 1 winner in it. If you take those winners out, put them in a new campaign just for winners, you can give that one way more ad spend, and then you can keep testing your other creatives in these old campaigns to look for more winners. Because you'll probably find that, like I said, Google allocates majority of the budget to a select few creatives, and then you can't effectively keep testing the rest. But if you have this winners campaign, it allows you to break them out and then keep testing in the older campaigns. So I recommend running that strategy. We're only just starting to break out some winners now from these campaigns. Introduce this campaign type once you have initial traction. Like I said, you can scale with PMax search shopping to $1,000 plus per day in profitable spend. If you're trying to introduce demand gen at $50 a day, there's a pretty low chance you're going to succeed because you just don't have enough data in the account and you haven't fully taken advantage of the other campaign types yet, which have much higher intent behind them and much higher conversion rates. Reuse winning creatives from Meta. Like I said, you can literally bring over creatives from Meta that are already winning, dump them in YouTube, 0 additional creative required, and you can get success with those. Vertical format can work, but horizontal is even better. So like I said, you can reuse vertical format creatives from Meta, but if you start to see winners emerging on a consistent basis with similar traits, amongst these winners, they seem to have the same formats or the same kind of angles or the same personas, then you should start to build out YouTube native ads. So horizontal format, 16:9, ads for both, pre-roll, like unskippable ads, 15-second ads, even some 60-second, 30-second ads, just to get in that YouTube native format, because they can do really, really well. Because very few brands actually go to the effort of creating these kind of videos, these YouTube native ads. So when you do create them, you get a really good market share if you have a high quality video, and it can convert at a really good conversion rate for a really long time. So I do recommend developing horizontal once you start to get a grasp of what works for you on YouTube. Okay, and that is pretty much the whole story of how we scaled this brand from 0 to 369K in under 3 months. Started with our shopping non-branded campaigns, cleaned up with our non-branded search campaigns, had our branded shopping and branded search protection, used PMax remarketing, and then scaled hard using demand gen. Now I'm going to show you the inside of the account itself. So you can see in here, this is the account from April 1st up until today. You can see it's generated now $400,000 in revenue from $91,000 spend. So a really, really profitable return on a brand that's doing, between 2 and 2.5 break even. So it's well above break even. And you can see, like I said, we have shopping non-brand as our biggest revenue driver right now. We have PMax just behind that, and then shopping non-brand for US, Canada, UK as well. You can see all the budgets have increased on these campaigns to date. So now we're spending a lot more and we're getting really good returns as well. You can see the ROAS on these campaigns is fantastic, 4.8, 5.4, 4.3, and so on. You can see PMax is still crushing in the US, Canada, and UK as well. We have our branded shopping campaign. We also introduced another PMax campaign. So the first PMax campaigns, the one I showed you, they were feed only. So it's this one here, and then there's another one here. So these ones are feed only campaigns, which means they only have the shopping feed and they don't have any other placements. I ran this just for a little bit more control to make sure that we were only showing the highest quality placements. But then once we had proven success, I rolled out an asset only PMax campaign. So this PMax campaign doesn't have any shopping feed in it. It's just assets to show on display, to show on search, to show on YouTube, all that good stuff. And you can see after we introduced that, we essentially filled the PMax gap. So now we have the feed-only PMaxes advertising the shopping feed. We have the asset-only PMax filling in the asset gaps. So now we're showing on all of the PMax placements. And this one is a worldwide asset-only campaign. It's doing really well for us at a 5x projected return. And then you can see we go down, we have a demand gen here. Like I said, demand gen is doing really well right now. It's at a 2.3x here, 2.4. And then we have some non-brand search campaigns doing the cleanup. And then we have branded campaigns, like I said. And then if we go all the way down, You can see there's a few more campaigns down here. This one, more demand gen. This is the newest demand gen campaign. It's only at a 1.5x right now, but it is increasing and it will continue to increase. Second batch of demand gen here is still doing really well at a 2.4x. Brand across our other regions is still doing well too. And that is the exact structure. Like I said, I broke down every single thing for you in this structure. It is to a T what we use to scale this account. And this account is continuing to scale, continuing to get great results. And we're going to push this as hard as we can alongside the advertising efforts on Meta until we hit $1 million a month, or as much as we can, right? So that is my full guide on exactly how you can scale an account to 369K in less than 3 months with the right setup, the right campaigns, the right structure. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watch this and you thought, wow, that is really cool, but I don't know how to do that myself, I don't have the time to do all that, that's totally fair. Feel free to book a call with me down below if you're running a brand making over $1 million a year. I'll be more than happy to chat with you and show you exactly how you can introduce Google Ads into your brand and start making money like this from Google. Because if you're running a brand that's already making over $1 million a year, there's a very, very high chance that we can help you add a lot more money on Google. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments down below. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you guys in the next one.